Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. This is your host today, Jim Cockrum. I'm going to be bringing on a panel of about four other folks here in just a moment. I'll tell you more about them here shortly. But we just wrapped up the greatest e commerce Amazon seller event, I'll say it, in world history. It was the 12th annual Amazon e commerce conference called the Proven Conference. And if you weren't aware, actually, you've already got it on the calendar again for 2025, and it's not too early to start making plans. Early June 2025, we're going to do it again in Orlando, Florida. We're actually going back to the same resort. They gave us such a great deal. They dropped their room prices dramatically for us, and they froze those prices. While the price of everything's going up, the resort said, "Hey, we're going to give you the same deal next year if you want to come back." We took them up on it. Such a great family friendly event. We had over 700 people there. We had nearly 50 breakout sessions on all kinds of topics. I'll stick a link in the show notes for more information on that. But today I wanted to bring on a panel of four of the coaches from our team, the leaders in our community who presented. That those were the main presenters. Dozens of our coaches and content creators on our team were the presenters at this conference and the breakout sessions. And all of those sessions were recorded. And I'll show you how to get access to those again in the show notes. But I just wanted to visit with them while it's fresh in our minds, the experience of being together with hundreds of other business building warriors who are everything from brand new, clueless, never sold anything online up to 8-figure sellers who are sharing openly the strategies, the techniques, the resources needed to build a beautiful business. Uh, because what makes this special, and you'll hear this as a theme today, I think, is the fact that we've got an abundance mentality in this community, which means any of us, no matter what our level of success happens to be, are willing to, and we see the benefit in going back to those who are behind us, a little further behind in their journey. Maybe they're new, they've never sold anything, they're just trying to get ramped up, they have some questions. We're willing to spend time with them. Our philosophy is if any of us succeed, it helps all of us succeed because we can learn and share and grow together. And that's especially true because we are in a blue ocean opportunity, meaning it doesn't hurt me at all to hand you a bucket and teach you how to dip water out of the ocean. That's the equivalent of what we're teaching around here. There's just so much growth and opportunity. The forecast of growth in e commerce is explosive. So we can easily cooperate with each other and not see each other as competitors, but the term that my right hand man, Nathan Bailey, the director of our coaching program, he came up with coopetition, meaning, yeah, we're playing in the same arena and we might bump into each other from time to time, but there's so much opportunity out there that that's just fine. And that ends up with in a very abundant minded community where even the most successful sellers are willing to spend time. And we had someone in our one of the panels breakout sessions was a guy who's built $100 million brand, and he came from this community as a clueless newbie, and now he's thriving. And we got plenty of people who are just putting an extra few $1,000s a month in the bank, and they're very willing to share how they're doing that. That's a fun part of our community is the whole array of experiences and approaches, multiple strategies. We've got Walmart, we've got Amazon. Today we even talk a little bit about TikTok. We don't have any content yet, but we're starting to see some momentum there. We may have some content very soon. Lots of fun things happening with wholesale, branded bundles. So many cool angles that you can come at this business and be surrounded with people who are doing it. Find a coach who's doing it. And I will say this, we our coaching program is exploding. We've never had more people say they were interested in working with us, hiring one of our coaches to work one on one. And all of the guys that you're about to meet on our panel today are coaches on our team. Like I said, we've got about 60 of them, and they all have two things in common. One, they've built a beautiful business using the proven Amazon course strategies that we teach around here. And two, they've got a teacher's heart and they're willing to spend some time each week with a handful of students one on one and work with them. If you're interested in hearing more about that, get over to silentjimdotcom/book a call. I'll stick a link in the show notes as well to that near this video or audio. So you can just jump right over, jump on our calendar and have a conversation with a consultant on our team. No obligation. We'll leave you better than we found you, give you some freebies. We just want to hear about you and your business plans and see if we might be able to help you get where you're trying to go. And a lot of what we have to offer is steering you away from some of the really bad ideas that are out there, which is one of the themes as well today is how much benefit it is for a new seller to come into our community and be surrounded with people who are willing to help and also steer you away from some of those disastrous mistakes that you might make. So we're going to share some very practical tips today, some very specific strategies, some takeaways from this conference, and I think you'd be really wise to circle early June 2025, specifically June 5th, 6th, and 7th of 2025, and plan to join us in Orlando, Florida. There'll be some details possibly as well in the show notes today about getting the early bird tickets. But if tickets aren't on sale quite yet, circle the dates. You'll be hearing more about it as those dates get closer. This community continues to thrive and expand. More success stories than anything I've ever seen in my 22 years of e-commerce, and the opportunity is only getting bigger. So let's spend some time with a great panel, some good friends of mine you're going to hang out with. We got Trevor Neil, Joseph Kelsey, Khang Dang, and Brian Olson, for the great leaders for the who are some of the presenters at our conference as well. Just taking some of their impressions of the event and sharing some very specific stories and moments, and some very specific strategies for you as well that will be of benefit today. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get the panel on the line right now. All right, panel, welcome. It's good to see you all. Let's get right into it. I'd love to hear a story, some insights, some observations from the conference. And Joseph, why don't we start with you? What's on your mind, man? Tell us about what you thought.
Oh man, I always come back from the conference just totally revved up with new ideas and stuff. And it's just one of those things. It's great meeting people face to face. I met so many coaching students. There's just so much excitement there. And it just really gives you a good place to kind of rock it off once you get back. You know, as long as we take the ideas that we've heard and we're able to implement them slowly, right? Because I've been guilty of just doing too many things at once after a conference sometimes. And I get kind of mixed up pretty quick. But taking one thing at a time and implementing that in my business how I can, it's really showing fruits, right? And it's just so neat when people come up to you and say hi. You know, I know it's kind of intimidating for a lot of people, but the coaches and the leaders and the speakers really appreciate it, right? Because I don't know, I was the same way. I was kind of intimidated by all the people I was hearing and stuff. And like for example, right at the end of the conference, after everything was done, two young ladies came up to me and they're talking to me about like their business and stuff and how much Walmart specifically, because I'm doing the Walmart stuff, has really grown their business. And they actually, so they're a duo. They work in the business together. And about a year and a half ago, I think they said they actually were able to quit their jobs and start doing this e-commerce thing full time. And it was just so great talking to them and hearing how I help their business. And yeah, it's just great relationships are formed. I met somebody too that I'm going to be doing some collaboration with and some business things, and it's just a blessing to be there. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So many great connections. And there's probably 1,000 stories from this event. You know, we had, just by the numbers, I may have mentioned this in the opening intro as well, but we had 700 people there. That made it our biggest event ever. A lot of families. It was a very family friendly resort. Just so the connections afterwards in the hallway in the evening, people up late in the evening, and the business deals and the partnerships that formed. It's hard to draw a circle around the impact of an event like this. But yeah, I love it, Joseph. Thanks, buddy. Who wants to go? Who wants to go next? Some observations or a story? Yeah, Brian. What's on your mind? What'd you take away?
Well, just to reiterate what Joseph said, sometimes you don't realize that your tank is not full,
Hmm.
and until you attend this an event like this. And I will say, I'm not sure that I was ever running on empty, but it's amazing how full I feel coming back from this.
Hmm.
I feel re-energized. I feel rejuvenated. I feel like I can put the pedal to the metal now, where maybe before the pre-conference I was, it was business as usual, but I feel like I got a little bit of turbo mode in the tank right now after that. And if there's one thing that I'm taking away from the conference, and I got a few notes, so this is not the only, but the thing that we took action on the fastest was the fact that Walmart is live. I mean, capital LIVE, right? Everyone was talking about Walmart, and we had applied 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, and we got denied. And I never went back to it. And so just hearing how people are using Walmart, seeing all the new tools that are coming out for Walmart. When we got back, we actually applied and were approved yesterday. So
Oh,
still going through
dude,
the verification process, but yeah,
that's
now we're
great.
ready. We're ready to go.
Congrats, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I think there is a window of opportunity right now that it's a little bit of a Wild West kind of feeling, and Walmart's taking off and ramping up, and they're gaining ground. I would say fair statement, Joseph. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're kind of a Walmart guy, but uh, Walmart's growing faster than Amazon as far as just how quickly they're obtaining new customers. And they're still far smaller than Amazon, but they're growing faster than Amazon is. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's totally correct. In fact, in my presentation, I showed the slide. It was a news article from a couple weeks ago, and it was just going through Walmart's Q1 results and their e-commerce numbers, and they grew by 21%, you know, over
Yeah.
last year. So it's
Wow.
just one of those things where they're going to be nipping on Amazon's tails in no time,
Which is
especially
only
if
good for us.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if Amazon keeps doing some of these frustrating things they do. It's just more opportunity for people.
Yeah, that'll keep them honest, for as a consumer and
Yeah.
shopper, I love it. As a seller, I love it. We've got your new content coming up, which I mentioned in the intro,
Yep.
of course, but it will have links in the show notes to all that as well. But the best Walmart seller training course in the world is going to come out of this community here just in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, how about the other guys we haven't heard from yet? I'd love to hear. You want to go next, Kang? All right, buddy.
Yeah.
How'd it
Mhm.
go for you?
It was different for me. In fact, this year was the first time I've done it as a speaker. So I'm glad you made me do it.
I
but
made you do it. Yeah, I kind of did, didn't I?
but like usually when I'm at these conferences, I'm behind the scenes listening and then walking up to people. But it was a different experience for me. Like this time after speaking, people were walking up to me and introducing themselves, and I was able to meet a lot more people that way. But what was interesting is a lot of people were sharing comments with me. Like, for instance, I didn't know what to think about in this conference, but after meeting so many people, I think what they say about this group is actually real. Like, people are actually good people and that wants to help, wants to share, and not just like, everybody walks in with like a skeptic mindset and just like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's all marketing.
Understandably so. Yeah, they're just waiting for the big pitch. Mhm.
Yeah, but they shared with me. They're like, "Oh, these people are actually really great. I actually believe what people say on the podcast." That was an interesting one for me. Another interesting take for me was, the reception of people. When we introduced the system to them, and they haven't even seen it yet, and then they started coming up with ideas, and I was just like, "That's a great idea." It's like you haven't even seen it yet, and you already came up with some great ideas. So I'm really excited to start launching that and getting people to share their wonderful ideas because this group is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so many creative minds. And just as an update for the listener today, we've got a few hundred people who have said, "Oh yeah, I want Kang's system. I want it to run my replens reselling business on Amazon, and it will be extending into Walmart too, just to kind of tie that loop. That's coming as well. We announced that." So some good episodes. I'll link to your other episodes for more information on all that, Kang, in case someone hasn't heard that. The main podcast episode to go listen to, get the foundation of what we're talking about here, is number 754. I've got that one memorized because I've given it out so much. Powerful episode, probably one of the favorites of the last 150 episodes or so, where we really dive into your story and that tool that you've built. But so the only guy we haven't heard from yet would be Trevor. How'd it go for you, man? Fill us in a little bit.
Oh, went fantastic as usual. First off, it was great meeting the leadership team and the other coaches. Besides seeing their Facebook profile picture and talking to them, virtually. Brian and his wife, I was able to meet them. Joseph and Kang, you guys are on my radar, but maybe next time.
Yeah, it's just a big enough group, man. You don't get to meet everyone. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was only able to attend one session, and it was just everybody caught me in the hallway. And
Right.
that's where the meat and potatoes from these conferences are. It's the conversations in the hallway, the partnerships, the ideas, my students taking pictures or whatever it may be. I kind of felt like a celebrity there for a minute. But we had a really good impromptu TikTok shop session. As we talked, I was actually going to do a seminar on it, but the health of my father, I didn't even know if I was going to make the conference. So FYI, some good content is coming that I will present to you, Jim, probably in the next couple weeks or so. But that went
Outstanding.
absolutely fabulous. And then right after our TikTok impromptu session, It was a woman and two daughters. They had a private label product. She's like, hey, can I pick your brain for a minute? I was like, absolutely. We have this product. It's not doing too good. Do you have some time to look at it? It's like, absolutely. Grab your laptop, meet me downstairs. So we had a impromptu helium-10 session. And we literally fired up their listing. I was like, well, your title, this needs to be that. And we did like a fast cerebro poll on their competitors. And just basically, I told them, whatever your competitors are doing and it's working, as long as it's relevant with buyer intent to your product, we want to take it and we want to implement it there. And you can literally, it was great to see the light bulbs just literally come on over their heads.
Yeah.
So it's
You
stuff
created
like that
a,
that makes you
it
really,
sounds like
really
you created
good.
a, what do you call it, Brian? WPA, worth the price of admission moment, right?
And that's exactly what she said. That is
Really? Yeah.
exactly what she said.
And,
Like,
and
this
it's
is where
great to come
I'm
home
here.
with like 50 of those, but one
Yeah.
or two and you've justified the time away. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you guys have a teacher sergeant, and there's about 60 people I could have got on this call today. But as I think I mentioned in the intro, I just kind of put out a little shout to the team and said, hey, who's available a couple hours from now? Let's do a recap episode. And you guys raised your hands. So yeah, just too many stories. Well, here's where I want to pivot a little bit, and you guys can go whatever order you'd like. But what would you say to someone who's maybe considering coming? They missed this one. What's your take on encouraging someone that this is something they need to be a part of? Because it's one of those things, from my perspective, until you've experienced it, it's kind of hard to put into words how the impact that it has. So just who wants to take that? We don't have to do all four of us on that, but who wants to take that one? Brian, yeah, go ahead, buddy. I saw your hand up.
I was just thinking about this on the flight home as Robin and I were sitting there chatting, like downloading all the stuff, right? You take in so much and it doesn't come out in exactly the same format or exactly the same speed as it goes in. But what I was thinking about are all the people that were there on stage speaking, giving advice, okay? The Josephs, the Kangs, the Trevors, all the other folks that we saw. When you look at their level of success, and I'm going to assume this applies to most people here. You're not successful. You're not at the conference because you're successful. You're successful because you went to the conference.
Well, that's
That
good.
that's the sort of crux of the matter for me, is like everyone that I saw kind of grew up in this community, and that's kind of what we promote here, is like you come in, you learn the P's and Q's, you find success, you become an expert in something, and then you teach and you help other people do the same thing.
Yeah. And we were all clueless newbies not so long ago. It's been a while back since I probably could have been labeled a clueless newbie, but in a lot of the areas that we teach, like Trevor starting to experiment with TikTok. I've done nothing with that. Walmart, I'm starting to take off, but I'm far behind some of the great experts on our team for sure. And yeah, so we're all there in some ways a rookie. And if we're not still a rookie, we were very not too long ago. We were, you called yourself the king of not getting it. I mean, that's just been a few short years ago, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely not an event for experts. I'm glad you mentioned that. Brand new, clueless sellers who haven't sold anything yet feel very warmly welcome. We had multiple sessions for them on the radar. So, what other thoughts do you guys have as you hear Brian and I kicking that around? Anyone else have anything to add to that? What you might say to someone who's thinking of coming? Yeah, King.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never been, you just got to do it. It's so important. Like, with this business, it's not just the knowledge you obtain from courses or coaching or whatever. Networking plays a big part. And a lot of the things that I picked up over time, cash flow management, how to get in, a supplier, for wholesale or some bundling tips. All of those were from networking. You learn the basics through courses and through coaching and whatnot. But to take yourself up to the next level, it really is through the people you meet. And there's really no other conference that is so united in what we've learned in this community than at this conference. So I've built many masterminds that I'm part of through this conference, and a lot of them became really good friends of mine now. So I think, if you're hesitating, it's something you really, it's a must. It's like learning keep up, it's a must. So that's kind of my piece right there.
Good stuff. And for those who don't know, the next time we do this, I'll come to you in just a minute, Trevor. It's not until June of 2025. That's a long time from now. But we do have several workshops between now and then, where you can expect 30 to 50 people or so, smaller breakout session, not 700, but 30 to 50, and a very similar vibe there that comes from, I think, our one of our core focuses around here is we don't see each other as competitors. We have an abundance mindset. The success of any of us contributes to the success of all of us. Those kinds of thoughts permeate the culture here. So you're not in a room full of competitors, you're in a room full of people who want you to succeed, and they share as much as they possibly can to help make that happen. And that's the culture that's here. And that's what that's one of the things you feel. But yeah, what were you going to say, Trevor? And I saw your hand too, Joseph.
Yeah, so just kind of piggybacking off of what Khang said, and you say it all the time, business is all about relationships. It's
Yeah.
all about, like I said, the conversations in the hallways, the tips, the tricks. And I told plenty of people that you can watch these videos when you go home online, but relationships, it's where it's at. Period. And not only relationships, but you're around like-minded individuals. You're not getting that at home.
True. Yeah. There's very few places where you can just walk up to anybody in the room and say, "Hey, how's business?"
Exactly.
They'll look at you like you're crazy pretty much anywhere else you go in your circle at home, right? But there, it's nothing but great conversations about business and strategies and good conversations. Yeah, what do you think, Joseph? Did you had something to add, right?
Yeah, not to sound redundant or anything, but it's just the friendships that you make that can last a lifetime. I've met some of my best friends now that are a business building warrior as well. Like some of the families have actually stayed at my house with their children and their wife, and it's just been a great time. And I heard it expressed uniquely at the conference. It's a co-opetition, right? Yes, we're competing, but we're cooperating in that whole thing. And just being able to be there and meet people, it kind of gets you out of your cocoon, because when I first started, I was just like, man, I'm doing this alone. And this kind of is a drag, no one can relate to me, none of my family, none of my friends. Just having that ability to have all the like-minded people right there, I mean, you can form some pretty amazing organic masterminds, right? Because that's what got me to the next level in this business, is having a mastermind, people you could turn to and lean on, communicate with and encourage. And it's just one of those things you can't replace it. So definitely anyone that has any interest in growing their business to the next level has to attend.
Completely agree. And I can think of very few exceptions. I've been doing this 20 years. We've had a coach, e-commerce coaching for 20 years. We had almost 10,000 students. And, the hundreds and hundreds of people that I've interviewed on the podcast, their success story inevitably includes the intentional pursuit of relationships with others in this community. The people that I hear from that say, "Yeah, I've been trying 6, 8 months and it's just not working. I just can't figure it out." And I say, "Well, who are you hanging out with? Who are you talking this over with? What's your circle of comrades in the battle with you?" "Well, no, I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. My wife supports me, and she's encouraging me, but I'm just kind of going through the course, and man, it's just hard. It's just hard without other people that you can bounce these things off of." That's kind of the delineating line in the sand I've drawn: the people who are going to make it and the people who aren't. If you're isolated, it's going to be a rough road. If you're building relationships, you're going to have opportunity falling in your lap. Well, I know a couple of you guys have limited time, and as do I today, but I think a question that just kind of occurred to me as we're going through this. I'm putting you guys on the spot, didn't prepare you at all. So whoever's ready for it can bounce on this one. But I'd love to give a very practical insight, maybe something you knew going in, or maybe it's something you learned at the conference, but something that people can leave this podcast episode today and go, "Okay, yeah, I could start doing that." Either something they should stop doing or something they should start doing, something they could consider, something practical. If anything comes to mind, maybe you've got a couple of them. But as I say that, what comes to mind? Does anyone have anything they want to share? I'm putting you guys on the spot. Yeah, Trevor, what do you got,
Yeah,
buddy?
I actually have one. Young husband and wife came up to me actually before I was talking to Brian, and he was telling me about his sales and whatnot, and how he's got everything else going on, running the kids around and this. I was like, that's great. Life happens, but he just needed not a kick in the pants, but some extra motivation. So he was asking me about time. How can I find time? I was like, do you watch Netflix? Do you watch TV? He goes, yeah, sure. Okay, there we go. There's your time. Stop watching Netflix or your TV shows and work on your business and watch your 5,000 grow.
How
So
do you
some
respond?
people, he's like, yeah, you're right. Some people just need that motivation.
And in Christian circles, we call that accountability, kind of iron sharpens iron. It's like, I kind of need to hear that.
Exactly. And
You know?
it goes back to Kobe Bryant. He wasn't getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to practice before practice. You have to have that championship mentality. What do you want? Do you want to run cute businesses out of your garage, or you want to be a powerhouse? The choice is yours. The only person holding you back is you. That's it.
Yeah, but very motivational. I love that. Pick your hard, being overweight, being broke, having bad relationships. That's hard, right?
Yep.
Working on those things is also hard. Pick your hard. The rewards come with one path and it's nothing but pain the other. It's going to be hard either way. So you might as well pick your hard doing things that lead you to a good place, right?
Yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah, the accountability. Just having someone, hey, turn off Netflix, man. Or, if we're all going to be completely honest, how many hours a day are we spending on our phones? Doom scrolling. There's time right there for you, man. You should be looking for ASINs instead of doom scrolling.
Yeah.
And you could change your family's future. That's great, man. Practical. Yeah, Kang, what else you got for us?
Yeah, to piggyback on that, in the beginning, I wholeheartedly think that you should do everything yourself and learn it. But I met a lot of people who are more advanced in their journey. I met a good friend of mine, did like $1.7 million last year in sales, and we went to dinner together. And his wife was saying, "We got to start building a team. It's just us." And the constant pressure, knowing that if you stop for some reason, that your numbers will plummet, is extremely stressful.
Mhm.
So she shared with me, she was like, "We after this conference, we got to start building a team." And that was a good part of my speech. My speech that you really need to take it to that next level. Once you've learned everything, you've gotten everything stabilized. You really got to start building that team to keep the business stable.
Yeah, and I'm in complete alignment. You need to learn every aspect of it, wear all the hats, but then pretty soon you start taking those hats off and letting others wear them. And then you're in a position like you are, King, where you've got your $3 million business. We talk about it all the time, fully automated. You're just managing a team of 4 or 5 people that run your business for you. But you had to learn it all. You did it all yourself. You were in hustle mode, and then you built the team. So I love that. Completely agree. Completely agree. Good stuff. All right, who else has something you want to share? Something practical? Yeah, Joseph, what do you got, man?
I guess I just want to echo the same sentiment of the hard work that it takes to build a business. I've had to had a couple talks with some of my coaching students that weren't getting much traction and stuff. It seemed like, but when I'm really honest with them, it goes back to what Trevor was saying. You got to put the work in. You got to be staying up. You got to be working when you can, putting in those hours, right? Because I remember working to 3, 4 a.m. sometimes, just plugging away, right? I mean, it seems like people forget about the hard work aspect of this a lot, where they think, oh, this new tool or this new course or will do it all for me. It's not true, right? That's just to help you to understand what you're doing. So if anything, I would just encourage people to put the time in, right? Get those repetitions in, looking at keep it charts, doing all the things we need to be doing as sellers.
Yep, completely agree. In what we're competing with, I think, as a community is this constant pursuit of the latest big shiny object opportunity that everyone becomes convinced is going to be, oh, AI, super simple, plug it in. Yeah, just click a few buttons and this is a money machine. Like that just doesn't exist. I've been doing this 22 years. It doesn't exist. That anything worth having in life, we say it all the time around here, requires blood, sweat, tears, risk, work, sacrifice, tenacity, right? Margin in your life. You got to be healthy spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally. There's a lot of things. It's kind of like, I love Daniel Lappin. That was our keynote speaker. He says every plane crash in world history has happened for the exact same reason: gravity. The default condition is everything stops and breaks. Entropy is a law of the universe. Things are in constant decay. So being an entrepreneur, being a business building warrior means you're fixing everything as it's breaking, plus you're building. It's work, man. But the rewards are just incredible. One of the guys, one of my favorite testimonials from the event, and I'll see what you got on your mind, Brian. after this, but I just got to share. It just popped in my head. He had never seen the ocean before, and he's gotten into e-commerce, into our community. He's starting to do replans. It's succeeding. He's got some other income coming. He's able to go, full time into his business now, and he's able to travel. So he came to the conference to Florida for the first time, and he posted a video of himself seeing the ocean. You can work from anywhere, but he put in the work. He put in the time, effort, and energy required. So we're not here to sugarcoat anything, but if you're willing to do the work, the stuff we teach works. It's that straightforward. Yeah, Brian, what did you wave your hand at me?
Yeah. The thing that is kind of sticking with me at this point is, and the last thing I'll share is, on the last night we did have dinner with an 8-figure seller, and your comment about it's not just for experts. You're right, it's not, and I think this is a good call out for those who already have thriving businesses. And the comment, when he was asked, why do you come to this conference, right? You're probably the largest seller here. And he said, I'm going to paraphrase because I think I can make it really succinct. There is huge value in learning from those who are less experienced than you. They're coming at it with fresh eyes. They're coming at it from angles that, you've been doing this business for so long that you haven't really entertained before. And so I love that not only are there new people there, but there are people with thriving businesses who are staying plugged in too, to see how they can get better at their business because of what you just said. It's a constant battle. We have to evolve. We have to pivot all the time. And what makes up the long-term success is just stringing successful months, successful quarters, and successful years together.
That's phenomenal. I read a leadership book a while back. I'm not sure who said it, maybe in a John Maxwell thing, but basically saying your leadership journey, your growth journey stops when you start being worried that the question you have is a stupid question. So never get so big that you think, well, I can't really ask that question because I'm supposed to be the expert. No, we encourage extreme humility on our leadership team here. If there's a new feature on Keepa and I've never heard of it, I'm going to be the first one to jump into the Facebook group and say, hey guys, I've been looking at Keepa for 9 years, but I have no idea what's this mean. Right? You've got to stay humble and stay in that place where you're willing to learn from the new people who are experimenting. I love that fresh set of eyes. Absolutely. It's when you start thinking you're the expert, that's when your growth journey stops. And that's a very lonely place to be as well. Yeah. Trevor.
What Brian just said reminded me of Undercover Boss. The big guy comes down like for Subway, and literally he learns from the bottom level employees. Like, oh, you guys are making sandwiches like this?
Mm-hmm.
We structured it this way. How come? Well, it's easier. So stuff like that. So that's probably why they do it.
That's a great reference. Yeah. And I it reminds me of something in the Japanese culture as well. I remember hearing about, I don't remember where, but it's part of their culture where, like, let's say you want to go into hotel management and you want to run large fancy hotels. Well, the first thing you do the first year, it doesn't matter what degree you've got, what grades you've got, what your pedigree is, you're going to be cleaning toilets. You're going to be going around with the cleaning crew, peeling gum off the bottom of tables. You're going to do the lowest of grunt work for the first year, just so you don't lose touch with the reality of the hospitality industry. And we've got a lot of leaders in our community who have that same humility. Like, yeah, there's all kinds of things I don't know. Anyone who's honest in e-commerce will tell you there's so much they don't know yet that it's like I see all the time, I'm like an infant in diapers in this industry. I've been doing it 22 years, and I learned something completely out of the blue that I probably should have known years ago, pretty much every day, because the rules are changing, the game is changing. You need a community to do it right. Yeah, great stuff. I love the turn that we took here on this episode. Well, what else anything else practical, guys, that we could throw out there to people that they should be thinking about or doing based on what we took away from this event?
Great little tip I got in the cross-border selling session was that you can enable Canada and US and Keepa for the same ASIN and get the same price points on, the 2 different price points on the same chart and offer counts and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool to find some easy opportunities. Now, I would say I had a conversation with Jeff Schick on that point, and he's encouraging a bit of caution because just because you can flip it across the border and it does sell doesn't mean that you're not violating some law that you're unaware of. So we've got some content coming on that, and there's certainly some opportunity there. I think the folks in Europe have an easier time on that one than we do here, US, Canada, Mexico. because some of those brands you're actually, you'd think, hey, someone in Canada wants to buy it and I want to sell it. Let's go. But it's not that simple quite often. But yeah, the Keepa continues to just add features. And I love, we've even sent them some suggestions and they're considering implementing and including those to help make lives easier for us here as shoppers and sourcers. But yeah, good tip, man. Good stuff. Well, anything else before we wrap this one up? I know a couple of us got to get bouncing out of here pretty quick, but any final thoughts as we start to wrap this episode up? Yeah, what's
I
up,
just got
Joseph?
something, Jim, real fast.
Yeah, go
And I
ahead, Trevor.
preach it as well. Comfort and growth do not go together. And I told that gentleman, the Netflix gentleman, that as well. So I'm a big advocate for staying uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's, yeah, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your routine. We call it a period of intense focused effort that's required to do anything worth doing. It's not going to be comfortable. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of encourage people at the end here about the conference again. And I'm pretty sure I know who Brian's talking about. And there's lots of bigger sellers within the community that attend the conference. And they're just there to help other people as well, right? Like the guy who Brian's talking about, I think, is in a mastermind where obviously he's the biggest seller, right? And he's willing to give his time and help people get to where they want to go. And in fact, I'm in a mastermind too, where I'm the biggest seller too, but we're just willing to give back and help people get over those first steps. And we want people to succeed, right? So just an encouragement again for people to attend the conference.
Absolutely. And you learn so much teaching. I've heard from so many coaches, we've got a coaching team of about 60 right now. And so often they say, yeah, it's nice getting paid a few bucks to coach people, but the real benefit is the partnerships, the insights, the challenges to my way of thinking, just the opportunities that have opened up as a result of being a coach, knowing the answers to most questions, but then the student ends up teaching you as much, if not more, in some cases along the way, based on their connections and experiences and insights as they take the journey. Excellent stuff. Well, guys, we need to wrap this one up. I know a couple of you got to get going, like I said, but it's really cool of you all to hop on here with me. And we're just a couple days on the other side of having done the event. So thank you for, some of us are probably still jet lagged. Couldn't believe we had, just a couple more stats from the event that blow me away. I think we had 13 or 14 countries represented in our community, the biggest we've ever had, more sponsors than we've ever had, more breakout sessions than we've ever had. And the fact that it continues to be session after session after session was students from our community who were formerly clueless, grew a beautiful business, said, hey, we want to be on the team. We want to create content or be a coach. Open book sharing exactly what's working in their business and helping the rest of us succeed on that journey. It's just a beautiful thing that's come together, unlike anything that we've seen in the industry. And you guys were all 4 plus a team of about 50 other people were a huge part of making it happen. So hopefully you guys will all be a part of it again next year, as well as the rest of the expanding team. But appreciate you all and thank you all for your time today. Thanks, panel.
Thanks, team.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. And as I wrap this up, I'm just going to address the listeners today who hung out with us. You should know, if this is one of the first episodes that you've ever heard, especially, that if you go back in time and listen to, say, 15, 20, 30 episodes, you're going to hear a bunch of episodes where we typically bring on one of our students from the Proven Amazon course training, and we talk about their journey from maybe clueless newbie, or maybe they've been burned pursuing a model that didn't quite work out, or maybe they fell for some of those shiny object business opportunities that never panned out. But then they went on to actually get some real results with our content and training or coaching, and they tell their story. We've got hundreds of those. And that's some of the best content around here. So today, if you were hanging out and meeting some of the coaches and leaders, take some time and go back. And all these guys have been on the podcast before, along with hundreds of others who have told their stories of their journey towards e-commerce success. Thanks for joining us today. We'll have another great episode for you very soon. Thanks for listening to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We'll talk to you soon. Hey, thanks for listening to today's show. We had to cut it off right there. I hope you enjoyed a little sample of what it's like to attend one of our live events. And I would encourage you, go to the website, The Proven Conference. That's 3 words, theprovenconference.com, to see how you can get your hands on the videos. All 45 plus breakout sessions from the 2024 event are now available to you, or they soon will be if they aren't yet as you're listening to this. because we just captured them late May 2024. We'll be making them available at a ridiculously low price. Go check it out. We'd love for you to get all the content, which will include the Q&A session that happened after what you just heard. So you'll hear some of the great questions and feedback and some additional content from the episode. I do want to encourage you as well to look for details for our 2025 event. A lot of people are locking in their tickets right now, and you can go ahead and grab some special discounts for locking in a year ahead of time. I know it's way out, but get this. You can get a refund if it doesn't work out. Lock it in, make your plans, block in the hotel, plan to be there. The event gets bigger and better every single year. This was our best attended event of the 12 that we've done. The next one is going to be phenomenal. We don't know exactly what we're going to do as far as speaker lineup and that kind of thing, but it's just as we've always done. It will be the great leaders and coaches and success stories from this community who take the stage and share what's working now. So thanks for listening to today's episode. You know, we'll have another great one for you very soon. One last little gift for you. If you've never done this before, we'd love to give you the book that I've written and updated 11 times at this point. It's the best-selling book that launched this podcast and launched our 75,000 member Facebook group. It's called The Silent Sales Machine, and it talks you through the current opportunities available to you in e-commerce and which of those opportunities might make the most sense for you, for where you're at. Identify the 3 business opportunities that are available online. Every opportunity we've ever seen goes into one of these 3 categories. And I talk you into which of them makes the most sense for you, for where you're at in your business building journey. The book is completely free. Like I said, you can go to silentjim.com/free11, FREE11, and get the book either downloaded on your smartphone or get the videos. There's a few options by email. It's up to you how you get the book. We'd love to get it into your hands. No cost. It's sold 1 million copies in the past, but right now we're still giving it away free. Take advantage of that while that offer is in place. Hey, God bless you, business building warrior. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll have another great episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio for you very soon.